Your midwife had come out of retirement during COVID. Were they being really open about the fact that they were out of retirement, or was this kind of like part of the secret club that just, the birthers heard about?
It looked like she just made a huge post on Facebook saying that she was coming out of retirement to help deliver babies at home because of COVID. And my friend happened to find this post she made and absolutely lost it, and then came to me and told me about it.
That's horrible. I followed your writing, and I followed your blog, and I had read again through it last night. And I just want to thank you for putting it out there and for sharing this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you know when she retired? I didn't even think about that.
I have absolutely zero idea. I know several years after Mary Beth, she had another baby that ended up dying. And I heard of a few other ones, but I never talked to any parents. But at some point, I don't know. Since Barbara's death, I'm not sure.
Do you think that someone like Brenda could, is there any question you could ask them that you think they will answer truthfully to?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering if there was maybe a trick question you could ask a midwife where they would actually admit something like, at any birth,
maybe if you say, hey, I read this, is this true? But I don't even know if they would even tell the truth on that.
Well, I'm just
They're
thinking
really good at that.
One of the things like, if at a birth where something happened and you said, oh, this is a thing that I don't want to see happen again, and you changed your practice, would you tell me about that? Do you think Brenda would even admit anything happened?
No.
Okay.
I think the only time she ever mentioned anything about my daughter's death was when the one little one was in the NICU on life support. And Brenda said, I wonder if this is what happened to Mary Beth, because that mom knew my daughter's name.
Did you talk to any midwives before or after Mary Beth?
No.
So Brenda was basically the only midwife that you had known?
Yes.
So you wouldn't even be able to ask another midwife, hey, is this what should have happened?
No.
Was she
So,
a
yeah.
CPM or nurse midwife?
She's a CPM.
She's a CPM. And she had you, just like mine, the way that they're certified, make you believe like you're hiring a nurse midwife.
She's a certified nurse midwife. Yep.
Yep. Same thing. Yeah. I do remember right away when I first got into this and we met each other and I was put to your blog and to your stuff. I remember that was one of the things that I had read, and here I was right at the time I was doing all of my stuff for my attorney and I was doing all the stuff. And when I seen that, I remember being like, wow, this must be like the thing for CPMs to kind of like, yeah, we're certified. And they like just totally do this whole buffalo thing on you. Like, I'm a nurse midwife. You can trust me, when they're not. They are different.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that right away. And I think that was one of the first things, even when we started first talking, I was like, holy crap, we've had like similar experiences and we don't even know each other. And we've had different midwives that I don't even know if they know each other,
You know that horrible ebook that's published by a former CPM?
From Calling the Courtroom? Yes.
That's the one. Is Brenda mentioned in that, or did she comment on that? Okay. So I guess, I don't know if everyone knows about that. This is actually an ebook that a midwife published as a reference for other midwives. And it sets it up from the time you meet a family, how to manipulate them and how to present yourself. So if there is a bad outcome, you're protecting yourself. You learn how to get the community to support you. And it's a whole book. It's available to anyone to look at online, and it's free. And for people who are considering a home birth and who are looking at midwives as being qualified and caring, this is something you need to read. You need to know, no matter what, they're going to protect themselves first, and they're going to make sure everyone around you is protecting them, not you, if they're, no matter what the outcome is.
Yeah, there are pages from that book that are actually in my daughter's police file at the police station. They printed them out and put them in there.
So what was your view, idea, concept of home birth before you had Mary Beth? Did you think?
I was totally all for it. You know, it was normal and natural. Women have been doing it for centuries.
So you had no idea that things go wrong during home births?
No. And I thought my midwife would be the kind that would be able to catch anything if anything should arise.
Did your husband have any misgivings about home birth or your midwife at all? Nope, same
No.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't see him coming. That's one of the points I'm trying to make here, is that people who say, well, I would know, or I'd know if a midwife was not on the up and up. No, actually, it's really, really difficult to find out, because they won't tell you about anything bad that happens, even if it wasn't involving them. Even if they knew firsthand something that happened, they will not tell you. And they do have answers for everything. I mean, this is the one thing they are very good at, with very rare exceptions, is that if you talk to a midwife and ask them questions, they will always have an answer, not necessarily a correct answer or an accurate answer, but they will have an answer for you, because their job is to reassure you and to basically keep on telling you answers until you run out of questions. And you're like, oh, okay, I've asked all of my questions. They've answered all of my questions, and now I'm satisfied that there's nothing to worry about. And you had 4 live children before Mary Beth, so you were an experienced parent. Five.
Yep, Mary Beth was number 6. And I had a home birth with number 5. And it went off without a hitch.
So yeah, the thing is, you knew what babies look like, what newborns look like, how they act, that they scream and they flail and they nurse, and that they don't look tired and they don't refuse to nurse.
She had told me that I was a good mom, and if there had been something wrong with my child, I wouldn't have hesitated to take my child to the hospital to go get seen.
Yeah, part of the manipulation.
Yeah, it's well, that leaves that big old question hanging in the air of, well, were you really a good parent? Because obviously something happened. And it's like, yes, your baby was born preterm. That's what happened. The midwife said, don't take him to the hospital. That's what happened. The EMTs were right there waiting to take you to the hospital. Everything, all she had to do was say, yeah, you should probably get this baby checked out by a pediatrician. Take her on in. I'll see you tomorrow. And none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they had the better to be safe than sorry thing to them. I really wish that more than anything, of you know what? I'm not sure. Let's go see a doctor. I'm not sure. Let's go to L&D. Let's go someplace. Let's go to a pediatrician. I wish that was somewhere in there with out of hospital births, is anything at all that's even questioned, just go see somebody else just to make sure, because it's better to be safe than sorry. And I hate that.
Yes.
For your first baby, first home birth, did you take that baby to the pediatrician?
Within a couple days after birth, yes.
And what the doctor say? They mention anything about home birth?
No, he didn't say a word.
Just checked baby out, pronounced everything fine, and sent you guys home?
Yep.
Oh, I was going to say, because some people have said that pediatricians sometimes give them the side eye when they say the baby's been born at home.
No, the doctors that we had, the family practice we used, they didn't question really anything. It was a little place in the boondocks out here.
So they were just happy to have your business. Gonna drive away. And you had so many children, and so you used them as a pediatrician too?
Yes.
They did all of the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how they could be a little bit on the laid back side. I mean, I don't know if there's anything a pediatrician could say to someone who's had a home birth that, I don't know. I mean, what could you tell someone who's had a home birth?
They were very compassionate, because I don't even know. My friend called the day after. It was right after we got home from planning her funeral. My friend actually called the doctor's office and asked for them to prescribe me like antidepressant stuff to help me sleep. And they went ahead and called in a prescription for me and saw me within a few weeks, just to double check and see how things were going. And they, they'd touch your arm, touch your shoulder, tell you they were so sorry.
Yeah.
Did you get any postpartum care after this? Like, obviously you really weren't seeing your midwife. Did you go see a doctor or anyone after this?
Only for the antidepressants for a little bit of time.
Okay. Yeah, I just was wondering if you ever got like checked out or anything, because, sometimes we go for our postpartum stuff afterwards and they check us or whatever, make sure we're healing good and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I even went in for a postpartum, to tell you the truth. I don't remember, to be honest.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. So, yeah. Understandable. Yeah.
So how did your other children, how did this affect them? Have they ever said anything about being pregnant or about having children that changed their point of view?
Yeah, my daughter, my grandson's almost 9 months old now. And while she was pregnant, she would see this stuff online and she's just like, oh, no, 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 no. And she would tell people, my sister died. You do not want to do something like this. And she would just lay out all these facts for them. She's very set in her ways there. Thank goodness.
Is she your oldest, or I think
that is my second oldest.
Your son's the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's your oldest daughter, though.
Yes.
Yeah, that would do me up nice.
Yeah. Now I do know you went off and you had a rainbow afterwards. So how was that having another baby?
Emotionally, it was so incredibly stressful. It really was, because they did find that I had an antibody in my blood that could possibly attack and kill my baby. And I wondered if that was something that played into Mary Beth. And that's always a question I'll probably have. But they didn't even know how it would go. So I was, getting shots all the time, trying to keep from going into preterm labor, seeing my OB, seeing the maternal fetal specialist, and I was constantly at the doctor's office. But they were very, very kind. They were very understanding. And any kind of, if I had a breakdown, they would comfort me and do what they needed to do.
That's nice. Were you getting any help, any type of therapy or anything during this? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And there's nobody, I didn't either, which was really bad. So I'm there with you. I get it. So how was everything after that? Cause you had your baby, and then how was life after having a baby that's alive now? Like, you know what I mean? A whole different.
It was great, having that baby to hold. It did kind of, I don't want to say like soothe everything, but it kind of like seemed like it gave us a little something, the whole rainbow after the storm. It gave us something to kind of look a little more forward to, and to help bring us out of our baby dying. But it's still always there, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It brings the joy when you're dealing with the pain, but at the same time, she'll never be replaced. There's always going to be that, that she's always missing, but there is something that, I don't know, it kind of brings your family together, I guess, in a way. Like everybody kind of has a point of healing because it's something good, someone good, a new person, but yes, I get it. But at the same time, it's scary and stressful, and it's everything else too. So yeah.
And then what can happen. You're like, oh my God, and you can't sleep at night. And yeah.
Did you have, how was your postpartum after having a rainbow? Did you do okay, or?
Yeah, I did totally fine after that. I didn't have any depression or anything like that. And I did actually have a period of time where I didn't have to have help sleeping, which was nice.
I mean, obviously what happened didn't change anything about her as a person or as a midwife, as far as we can tell. Here's a good question for you, though. If somebody has had a less than, we'll just say a bad experience with a midwife, home birth midwife, and whatever the outcome, whether or not you decided to transfer care to somebody else, or whether or not they dumped you, or whether or not there was a problem with the birth that they refused to acknowledge, what is your advice for dealing with that midwife and processing your experience with that midwife?
I don't even know if there is any kind of advice that I can even give them, because we know how well protected that they are. We know how well legal cases go, if anybody even wants to help you out in that respect. We know that there's no oversight. There's like no accountability whatsoever. Parents are pretty much, we're screwed, regardless of what happens.
When it comes to talking or communicating with your midwife, whether or not they try to contact you or not, or getting your medical records with them, how should you approach someone like that?
It's not worth it. They're way into covering themselves, helping themselves. Their last concern is going to be you and your child. They care about themselves. Bottom line, that's it. And they will tell you whatever to try and manipulate you, gaslight you. It's classic abuser behavior. You've been groomed. They're not going to know.
So you should expect to be basically coddled, mollified, blown off, and worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to any medical professionals in your area, or her area, I should say, who knew any more about her than you did?
No. The closest that came, I talked to the doctor that tried to save my daughter's life. They work over here, and they actually ended up caring for my Rainbow when he was in the NICU. And we discussed the situation, but that's as far as it ever went.
So no one ever gave you a clue that this had happened before, that she'd been responsible for anything?
No.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if the medical professionals can help us out, because going by what I hear down here in Columbus, the doctors in children's hospitals, pediatricians, do not like what they are seeing come out of home birth. I mean, obviously they get the worst cases, but I also think one of the reasons they don't like what they're seeing is because they know that the midwives just basically learn nothing and ghost.